Thanks for joining us. I'm Rich from 56 Plus One.
And I'm Eric from 56 Plus One.
We're having a little impromptu live video today. We have a special guest for you today that we wanted to talk to, and this goes back to our segment called This is America. We're talking to patriots just like you and me. We're talking to our plus ones. We're talking to our first responders, our veterans, our soldiers, our business owners, your uncle, whoever. But today we're lucky enough to have a gentleman by the name of Todd Jacobson with us. He is a small business owner up in New Hampshire. His business is called the Fire Cleanup Services, FCS. And I just wanted to have him tell you a little bit about his business. Todd, can you hear us okay?
I can. Thanks for having me on, guys.
We appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us and talk to us about what you do. Can you take a couple minutes and just tell us what your business is and exactly what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Fire Cleanup Services. We're out of Belmont, New Hampshire. We basically take care of all New Hampshire as far as restoration work is. Fire Cleanup Services is the name, and a lot of people mistake us for just doing fires, but we do more water damages than we do fires, but we're really good at fires as well. We also do a ton of mold mediation. We do smoke, soot, post-construction cleanup. We do a lot of carpets for hotels in the area and a lot of residents, businesses alike. We do upholstery. We kind of have our hands in everything that needs to be cleaned or fixed or in that realm. And it's been fun.
Todd, you had mentioned earlier in another conversation, you referenced broken pipes. So that's another service that, to like a homeowner, you would go in and let's say somebody called you and said, "Hey, I got a broken pipe." Do you actually fix the pipe or do you take care of the remediation? Got it.
Yeah. So I mean, if a broken pipe occurs and there's a water loss in their home, we come in and try to remove any wet or dry anything as quickly as we can because we don't want mold to set in. So we hopefully there's a plumber on site and able to stop the water, and once they're done with fixing it, then we come in and basically dry it out as quickly as we can and take care of people's contents and their homes.
And the other question I would have is you said your range of services would be all of New Hampshire. Is it just New Hampshire, or do you take your services outside the state?
Yeah, we don't typically go outside the state, lately we haven't really done northern New Hampshire since basically COVID. We've kind of didn't need to. We got a good niche in the Lakes region of New Hampshire, and all the way down to Nashua, up to Littleton is kind of our more realm that we've been in. But yeah, we don't go outside. There's companies like mine all over up here, and there's a lot of great ones. And there's plenty of good ones in Maine and Vermont and Massachusetts as well. So thankfully, we don't have to take care of those areas.
And so how does somebody find fire cleanup services?
Well, you can call the phone number, which is 603-528-2700. You can also go online to fire-cleanup.com is our website. I don't do a lot of stuff on Facebook, but we are on Facebook as well. So reaching out to us, Googling it is typically how a lot of people find us. And I suggest if you do take a look, we have some great reviews on there from some customers in the past. And thankfully we were able to help them in a time of need.
That's great, Todd. I'm going to actually put a link to your website on our Facebook page, on the 56 Plus One page. I'll also put the phone number. So, it sounds like you guys do a wide variety of things. And, like you said, you hear fire cleanup services, you think it's just fire. But so you're involved in everything. And from routine carpet cleaning and, if people want to hire you and have you come in every week, is that the type of things you're talking about? Or is it like a one-time off thing or once a year? Or do you have a multitude of customers like that?
Well, that's a good question. As far as carpets go, they don't need to be done as often as you think, but a couple times a year is usually the best way. I mean, it keeps the fibers down. and the dust and all that stuff out of them. A lot of people we're in mud season up here, coming up in another month and a half or so, maybe 2 months at this point. And, a lot of carpets get, wet and damaged throughout the winter and so on, and wear and tear. I mean, I got 2 kids. We're cleaning carpets all the time here. I'm just glad we do that because
Right.
it would be a pain to have to call someone every, month and have them come by. But, yeah, so the business that we do usually it's a couple times a year, like the hotels and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So that's typically what people want to do, and we have customers we've had for 30 years at this point, and they're fantastic, and they all have white carpets for some reason, but we keep them nice and clean when we get in there.
So one thing I want to get into a little bit down the episode here. You and I have been friends for a lot of years, and I remember there was a point where I actually worked with you guys for a couple weeks, and
Yeah.
well, and it was a timing thing with me, and these guys were gracious enough to help me out when I needed the help. So it's a small business and I'm a veteran, and these guys helped me out in a time of need, and I got to be honest with you, they were there to put food on my table. So that's one thing that I'll never forget. I really appreciate that opportunity. But the other side of that is I was amazed at the attention to detail and how meticulous your company is at what they do. And I think we were doing a puff back from a furnace that had dispersed black smoke. It's almost like a soot, right, Todd?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Your furnace basically, coughs and soot goes throughout your home and covers everything. So basically everything in the room or everything the air touches in your home needs to be cleaned. So if you look around your room, your living room, even your garage, your attic, wherever, like we have to go through everything. If you have a bookshelf with 150 books on it, we go through every book, not page by page, but depending on the situation, we clean every single thing. We clean the bookshelf. We take the bookshelf off the wall. We clean the wall behind the bookshelf. We clean the floor underneath it. Then we put it back on and we stage it the way it was when we found it. So, yeah, it's extremely thorough. It's a lot of work. And I remember when you walked into that room that me and you were appointed to
Right.
that day, and I said, you said we have to clean everything in here, and I said, yeah. And the look on your face was like, how are we going to do that?
And you're like, I'm going to show you.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and we did well. It was fun to because I got some great people that I work with, but to work with a friend, the banter was great. A lot of laughs.
yeah, we had a good time. I remember. The other thing that stood out in my mind about that is, you said to me, well, we have to clean the whole ceiling, and I'm looking at the ceiling and I'm like, well, it looks fine to me. And you grabbed one of your cleaning products,
chemical sponges, chemical sponge.
You took a swash off the ceiling with the sponge, and I was like, you're kidding me. I couldn't believe how much soot was there.
You can't see it until you can see it.
Really?
Yeah.
And I go, great. Now we're committed. You just made a clear spot on the ceiling. Now we got to do the whole thing. Thanks a lot.
That's so true.
Knowing Rich, he'd have walked out of there
true.
and been like, yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah.
I don't think he really wanted to stay there and do all that, but we had fun. It's a tough job, and the men and women that do it, at least that work with me, I mean, I'm impressed by them every single day, the effort they put in. I mean, I am lucky to have them, because without them, none of this is possible. I mean, I go to work to do a job, and that's what I'm here to do, and I'm thankful that I have people that surround me that make this job easier, and they work really hard to do a lot of tough jobs. I mean, when you're talking about demoing a room or a home, you're lugging pulling it all down, you're lugging out to dumpsters, and that happens week in and week out. So it goes to showing. I have veterans working for me, and everyone's hardworking, but it's a family-run business, and I like to think of these people as family, and I hope they think of me as the same. I think they do. So.
Well, and Todd, the very first conversation. Well, we've only had one other conversation prior to this, but the first conversation that we had, you did emphasize that quite clearly, which in today's world, particularly in your bigger corporations, people are often thought of as numbers, so to speak. But that is one
Yeah,
of the
I
things
was.
that what in what regard?
Well, I mean, I've been employed by other employers,
Oh yeah.
and I, I learned from them like the things that I didn't want to be, and how I wanted to show the respect and kindness to the people that work for you, or the people that work with me, because it's a team effort.
No, I agree wholeheartedly.
Oh, and I
Yeah.
think you do a great job at running your business. I've seen you with your employees. I know some of your employees, and
Yes, you do.
I do think that there is a mutual respect there,
Yeah,
which is one of the reasons why your business is so successful. And
I
you said something about you've been a number and you've been employed before. Uh, that kind of leads me to the next question: what led you into this business? Where what
Oh,
what did you do
it's a
before
great
that,
question.
and how did you get into
Yeah.
the industry?
Well, I was into the industry because I was born into it. It's what my father did. So growing up, obviously, there was certain times when I was old enough to work anyway, that I would go and join them. And then, as I got older in life and coming back from college, and I needed a job for a few weeks, they'd always put me to work, and it was really hard work, and it was something I was not interested in doing ever. Even as an adult in my mid 30s, I was like, it was brought to my attention, like, why don't you take over your dad's business or buy it from him? And I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, that's a tough job. And as you get older, things change, your mindset changes, and your priorities in life change. And I met an amazing woman, my wife, Kate. And, we were I was kind of in a spot where I was maxed out where I was as far as financially, and I was in the golf industry for about 16 years, and I was at a nice golf course in Massachusetts, running the outside services and caddy master and things like that. And it was a great place, and I enjoyed it, but no real future in it, or financial gains. And my wife looked at me and she said, "Well, what do you want to do when you grow up?" And I'm 39 years old at this point, and and I said, "I don't know. I'd like to own my own business someday." And she said, "What about your father's business?" And we actually had a really intelligent conversation about it for the first time in my life, and we decided to give them a call and see if that was something they were interested in. And within 2 years, we had moved our family all the way up to New Hampshire, and I worked for them for 2 years, basically going, getting all my credentials and really learning, the business inside and out. And, with her support, we purchased the business 6 years ago on January 2nd. And 7 days later, we had our second child, Colin. And that was a year. So it's been a very interesting ride. I have learned a ton. We've been able to help a ton of people in the time we've been here. I've had ups and downs. It's been good, it's been bad, but it's all been fun to me, and it's something I look forward to doing every single day. And I take pride in what we do, and I surround myself with people that do the same. And it's just yeah. So it's been an interesting ride. I was a golfer for a long time. I don't get to play as much as I'd like to nowadays, but I got enough in when I was young that I can wait a few more years for it to come back around.
Can we talk about that time you and I played golf and I was beating you for the first 4 holes?
We could.
Did you say the
I don't
first
know
four
if that'd
holes?
be appropriate. But yeah, we could talk about it. It was Lockmere Country Club, if I believe.
I was just
Yeah.
kidding. You don't have to talk about it. I just
No, I want to hear it because Rich is very competitive.
Well, it's a short story.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, sorry.
That's awesome.
But
That was a fun day anyway.
it was. You couldn't miss, man. I
Uh,
mean, we didn't expect that at all. Like when you hit it down the middle in the first hole, we all looked at you like, "What was that?" Yeah, you did good, and then reality kicked in. But it
That's
was
right.
fun to
Yeah.
watch. Yeah, it always does in golf. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. I mean, you're gonna have a couple good shots, and you're gonna have a lot of bad shots.
That is exactly why I couldn't stand that game. You'd
Yeah.
be feeling great for a couple holes, and all of a sudden, a
Oh yeah.
snowman shows up out of nowhere. You think you're gonna break your
Yeah.
record, and
Oh, and
Yeah.
that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I had the luckiest first 4 holes of my life, And it
I
was
don't know.
funny.
You look like you the skill there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I didn't realize, hindsight, it's funny. I'm going to rag on you a little bit here, but
That's okay.
you were awfully quiet, and I didn't understand why. And then when I shanked that one off the 5th tee into the woods, you came alive. You came alive, and I go,
well, I might have been a little nervous, because everyone thinks of me as a good golfer, even though, I mean, you can teach golf, which is what mainly I did, and be really good at that. But, I was never the best golfer. I mean, I can scrape it around, and I enjoy the game. So I hit it further than a lot of other people, but mostly it's further in the woods than them. You know what I mean? So
you're being pretty modest. You are a phenomenal golfer.
I didn't want to get beat by Rich. I'll tell you that. I mean,
nobody wants to get beat by Rich.
Down. No, not in golf.
No, especially golf. That's great.
I couldn't handle that. So I'm glad that the 5th hole showed up, and
then the rest were downhill from there.
Out.
Yeah,
that's it. Well, I think I played well after that.
You did. You really kicked it into the overdrive at that point, and I was going backwards. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Rich,
it was fun.
Rich put together a series of questions here that we're intended to use as call it a format, but I think that they're more so for plug and play when we need them. But here's one of the interesting questions as I was scrolling through this. He said, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
Oh, my goodness. That is so difficult. It's so broad. I would have concentrated better in school. I feel like I could have educated myself back then that would have guided me down a different path. I don't know, because if I'm where I am today because of all the things that I've gone through and learned through mistakes and so on and so forth. So, I mean, be more humble, because I'd like to brag a little bit when I was younger. And
I would agree with that.
Be true to yourself. You got to give yourself more credit, because I always, I didn't come across as somebody who was. I came across as a confident person, but inside I really wasn't very confident. And you gotta love yourself. And I wish I loved myself more back then, because I was my worst critic. But then again, because I feel like it made me into a great man. And I'm still trying every day to be a great dad and a great husband and a great son and a great friend. And all of it's a challenge, but you got to go through the bad to get to it. I mean, you have to learn, and as long as you're paying attention, you're going to be better than you were. And so
that's a true to yourself
the question
thing. No, you did. And that's one of the things I think a lot of people miss and that's one of the things that I live by, much as you said in your younger days. But as we get older, it's looking back on things and then being what I would define as brutally honest with yourself.
Yes.
And having that conviction of humility and that helps us grow. I can't disagree with it. What's that?
Say sorry. Like, sometimes it's your fault. And I don't know why it's so difficult to say those words, and I still find it difficult some days, with my wife, where I should be apologizing. I'm in the back of my head, I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it. And then when I do, it's like she looks at me and she knows, like, all right, thank you for, pushing that through from the back of your head. But be sorry. Life is tough. But own it.
So sorry to me has always been a word that means something particular, right? So yeah. I think while I agree with you wholeheartedly, it's the application, right? So sorry is a lot of people use it as a filler to.
They do. Unacceptable.
Yeah. Right. And whereas sorry means in my heart, mind, body, and soul is I won't do that again.
You got it. I screwed up. Yes.
Right.
I won't do it again. You got it.
And that's just my personal opinion on it and how I look at it. So I take that word as a very serious word. I'm a
good for you. I'm glad
person when it comes to certain things, about ourselves and looking at truths. But interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and one of the things about saying sorry is you have to take a look in the mirror and realize your own faults
You're admitting it.
when you're
You got
doing
it.
something like that, and that's a tough pill for most people to swallow, including myself. So
Me too. Yep.
So while we're talking about this, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, as a business owner, and even throughout your life, when you have a setback or something goes wrong, how do you stay motivated? What makes you drive forward and overcome those setbacks?
Well, the setbacks are, obstacles, but that's that's the best part. I mean, those setbacks are what you're learning from. Um, that to me, I take it as a lesson, and there's no not driving forward. I mean, this is part of the deal. I made choices in life to get to where I am, and things happen along the way. So when it comes to a setback, I mean, setbacks like the truck mount breaks down, or a piece of equipment's not working the way we want it to, or things like that. I guess it could be a little more extreme, but you just have to take it as it is. I mean, nothing worth doing is easy. So it's just part of the deal. And if the equipment's not going to work, then you replace the equipment on the job and make sure it's functioning properly, and then you get it fixed, and yeah, you move on. So there's no stopping. I mean, this is something I'm going to do for a long, long time. And if my kids don't want to do it after they're done with college or whatever, then then I'll sell it, or just close the doors. And thank you for giving me something to do and something to strive for every day, and put food on the table for my family, and help a lot of other families out there put food on their table as well. Um, yeah,
Todd, you do talk a lot about helping others, and that's actually what formulated this to turn into this podcast. I think, I don't know exactly how it happened, but if I'm going to just state it, it's somewhere along the lines you reached out to Rich, or you and Rich were having a conversation, and you wanted to help, and you wanted to
yes,
contribute some donations towards us, albeit we're a profit business. So we came up with this formulation, and it spurred an idea for us to get our message of educating people about the founding principles of the nation out. And you wanted to
yes.
donate 3 shirts, and I think we
Well,
went.
it's 3 hoodies, I think is what
Was it?
we're
Yeah,
going to do
Yeah.
hoodies
yeah.
for
Well,
Todd.
you guys were offering T-shirts on one of your lives, and I saw it, so I texted in. I said I'll sponsor, and Rich was like FCS will sponsor. So, and then you guys reached out to me, and it was a great conversation, as you said. And I figured, because up here, people are in the cold right now, and let's try to keep some people warm, and let's give them some sweatshirts rather than T-shirts. And you guys thought that was a great idea. So, um,
But
yeah.
your contribution went above and beyond what the sweatshirts were, and we said, well, look, again, our mission is principle, right? At the end of the
Sure. Yeah.
day, and so we went back and forth about the contribution, and he said, well, why don't we do the 3 sweatshirts, and then we'll take the excess from the sweatshirts and take that and go to a local business to see if they'll match the balance of the sweatshirts, and which I think is 100 and
Yeah, I think it was 150 would be the shirts, and Todd, so that would leave extra money.
like around
Yeah.
$100. And so that's our way to try to duplicate or make more, turn your contribution into much more than just the original contribution, by going to we had talked about a steakhouse and donating an equivalent amount of a dinner to a veteran family, by
Yeah.
funneling it back to a disabled American veterans organization, a VFW, or some other veteran
Absolutely.
organization up there, which that, as Rich and I are both veterans, so that touches very close to home.
Sure.
So I have nothing but profound and the utmost respect for that, and I'm glad we're having this conversation today.
Yeah, and
Me too.
I'd
I
like to
appreciate
piggyback on that. And thank you, Todd, because it was actually your idea about the donating the money, and then I think Eric had talked about trying to get the funds matched and everything else. So
Yeah, which is amazing.
Obviously, it just goes to show the people what kind of character you have. First off, you're donating to us for the business and to help us get our word out there. And
Absolutely.
obviously, people are gonna receive some hoodies and everything else, and the message will spread.
Yeah.
But on top of that, we're gonna be able to help a veteran in need, or maybe a couple
Yeah.
veterans in need. So hats
Amen.
off to you. A very, very admirable contribution.
It's my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I mean, this is why we do what we do, right? So it's not always about us, and helping others makes me feel good. And if we can contribute in any way we can, and recognition is typically not necessary. I'm enjoying this, and I'm glad that we're able to talk about fire cleanup and what we do, and we're promoting a little bit. But we do a lot of stuff, and we don't need our name out there. We do it because we want to do it, and my wife and I believe heavily in giving back, and that's what we do. So I appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Thank
we
you, Todd.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is America though, and that's what when Rich and I hung up from the first conversation, we're like, all right, let's make this more than what it is, and basically plant a seed so we can grow other prospects and or keep the giving going, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then we cultivated this name of This is America, and it truly is
It's great.
America. From the common individual to the family to the small business, and how community builds, thrives, and grows from there.
Yes, I agree. I agree. There's so many great people, and there's a lot of people in need. Like, let's do what we can to show them that we care. We're all here together.
So, Todd, with that, what is your favorite way to unwind, relax after a busy day?
Oh, um, hmm, that's a loaded question. You know, because I look forward to getting home and obviously seeing my wife and kids, and then then the kids get crazy, and I'm not sure that I'm looking forward to that at the moment anymore. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'll sneak away and then go play a couple games of Golden Tee at a local bar. That doesn't happen too often, but in the summertime, it's getting outside and shooting some hoops with the kids, and golf was my go-to. I don't get to do it too often, but you'll catch me swinging the club around the yard and things like that. So I don't know. I guess just being with my family, and as far as it's like I said earlier, I signed up for all this, and I'm in it to win it, and I want to be part of the team, and I want to be part of everything that's going on. So I'm just enjoying what I can enjoy.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I think Rich has another loaded question in here.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Well,
say, and I think I know where your answer will be. Just kind of on what we had been talking about earlier. But what's one of the things that you're really proud of outside of your professional achievements?
Uh, um, honestly, I mean, we're just talking about me, like what I'm proud of.
Anything you're
Because
proud of. I mean, this is yeah. What are you
It could
proud
be
of?
that time you beat Rich on the golf course.
You could be proud of that.
oh my goodness, I'm proud of the person I am. I don't give myself enough credit, and I'll give myself credit here on a live podcast, I guess. But
It's a good thing.
I'm proud of the decisions I've made, and the man I am today. And it's not easy every day, but I take pride in that, and taking pride in my children every time someone meets them and sees how amazing they are, and my wife, how charming she is and beautiful, and I take pride in all that. I take pride in having my friends say nice things about me, and it's I feel like I'm very happy. I'm a happy man at this point, and I'm not exactly 20 years where I would have guessed I'd be, but I don't want to be anywhere else. So yeah, so I guess I'm proud of that. I'm proud of who I am and what I do every day.
One of the things that kind of when I was young in the entrepreneurial endeavors that I was chasing, I'd work my butt off, and anybody that's been in the entrepreneurial world knows that you don't sleep. You might get some hours of rest here and there, but that's about the summation of it. But I remember this one guy told me, Eric, it's not about it's nothing. It comes down to this. At the end of the day, it's what's going to be on your tombstone. Like what are those words that you would like or like someone to view having said about you? So I guess that same thing would apply here. What would if there's anything that you would have one final piece of advice on that you'd leave with our audience today, what would that be?
Oh man, one piece of are we talking about life? Or are we talking about work here? Let's if we're talking about work, insulate your home.
That is true. I have done
Insulate
that.
your home. I don't want to be as busy as I am. I appreciate the work, but there's ways that you can protect your home from having water breaks and things like that. Get your furnace cleaned annually. Get your duct work done. Clean your carpets. Like do all the things that need to be done to maintain your home. It's a small cost now that might save you a ton of trouble later.
Yeah, but that would put you out of business.
Well, I don't think they're all going to listen to me, so there's a fair share that are just going to do what they do anyway. But for the one or two that does hit, go this spring, go and take a look at your house and do the stuff you need to do. That way you don't have to worry about it in the future. But as far as life, advice to people is be who you are and don't try to be what other people want you to be. And if you're not a good person, then try to be. And if you're a good person, try to be better. Be fair to yourself and be fair to others. That old saying, treat people the way you want to be treated, like it actually goes a long way.
100%.
If you give people respect, you're going to get respect back. I mean, so I guess that would be it. And, listen to this podcast. That's great advice. You guys are doing a great job, and I've enjoyed the banter between you guys and the conversations you've had, and it's definitely educated me. So I appreciate you guys, and I love the fact that you're stepping outside your boxes, and you came together and you came up with what you're doing now, and it's moving in a direction. And I'm sure you're both like, wow, this is a lot of work, but you're doing great, and people enjoy you, and keep doing what you guys enjoy. And if you do that, you're going to bring the same energy you have all the time, because if you're putting joy into it, then people are going to get that joy from you.
And that is
contagious.
Exactly it, Todd. I mean, you say work. Rich, full-time job. You come home. We do look forward to doing our podcast is put out every Thursday night, or every Thursday night we do the recording, and then it's launched Monday morning. But we enjoy it, I think, from many aspects, but I think more so from the holy crap, we just learned a whole lot there, and we are sharing information about what I would call iconic people that founded this country. And I thought it was strong enough in many aspects to hold my own at any point or conversation about these guys, but I've learned so much more along the way. And with that, I do have an affinity for continuing to learn. So
me too in my business. That's a wonderful thing to have, and it shows.
And it keeps you driving. That personally is what I think does it for me.
Yeah, I used to dread getting up when my alarm went off. Now I look forward to getting up and getting the day started. I mean, I'm tired, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'm looking forward to getting to work and getting accomplished what we need to get accomplished and moving on to the next one. It's fulfilling.
No, I can completely agree and understand where that's coming from.
And what's the old saying? If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
That's pretty much
That's what they say. Yeah, that's what golf was to me. And now I brought it over to another one, which I never thought I'd find the love for that. But yeah, absolutely.
So you're obviously happy, Todd. It sounds like a wholesome family.
I'm a very lucky man. Yes, I am. I'm happy. I'm lucky. I have people that surround me that love me and care about me, like friends like Rich and I'm lucky. I'm happy. I'm blessed. I still have my mom and dad with me, and my wife has her mom and dad here, and they know our kids, and they know all their grandchildren, and all our kids know them, and it's a good life. I mean, it's not easy, but it's a good life. We're very blessed,
and it makes you appreciate it. That's what I think it comes down to.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Todd, I appreciate you taking the time to sit with us and talk to us about your business and tell us a little bit about yourself. The feeling
Thank you.
is mutual, I will say, with with having friends. We, like I said, we've known each other for a lot of years, and
Yep.
I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm proud of the success
Thanks.
that you've had. You've worked hard. I've seen it. Um, so
I
hats off
appreciate
to
that.
you, and you should be proud of yourself.
Thanks.
And that's one thing you mentioned is you're proud of the man you've become, and you have every reason to be.
Thanks.
But no, I really appreciate taking the time to come on here. Can you give us the if we needed to contact you, what was your website and your phone number again?
Yeah, the website's fire-cleanup.com, and the phone number is 603-528-2700.
Awesome. I'll put that on
Yeah.
the Facebook page, and we'll get that information out there if anybody wants to get a hold of that. But once
Well,
again,
thank you guys for taking the time. Thank you for, allowing me to talk about myself. I'm not I'm not sure how that's gonna come across. People are gonna think
That's
I'm
not it,
crazy,
Todd.
but
It's about your giving and
well, I
kindness
enjoyed it.
and no,
Yeah.
I know. I want people to know that that's not who you are, and I don't have to know you any more than what I do know. I mean, our first conversation was enjoyable, and so was this one.
Yeah, I enjoy you guys too, and I'm glad that I could be part of it. And thanks for having me and allowing me to talk about fire cleanup services. And I look forward to hopefully doing this again with you guys someday and sponsoring some more things going forward.
absolutely, we appreciate you.
Awesome.
We'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon, Todd.
Thank you guys.
All
Have a
right,
great night.
you
All
too.
right, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
And thanks to the listeners for tuning in. My name is Rich, and I'm a +1.
And I'm Eric. I'm a +1.
Thanks for listening. Todd, are you still there by any chance?
I think he is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I
cool.
just no. I only hung up
Yeah, we're still on
phone.
live, just so you
Oh,
know.
all right. Okay.
We're not recording
All right.
the audio podcast anymore, but we are
Cool.
still on Facebook Live. So anything you say
All
can
right.
and will be used against you in a court of law.
Amen. That was fun though.
Yeah, so I'm
I
going
appreciate you
to
guys.
stay on the line for a second. I'm actually going to cut the Facebook Live off, and
Awesome.
we'll just have a quick little outbrief, and
Cool.
we'll go from there.
All right.